This is Kate, this is my channel, and I'm going to try and do something a little different. I'm going to try and do a series, a sort of mini series on rereading, rereading a particular series that was one of the most important book series to me growing up. I feel like it's really impacted on my whole reading life, my whole reading experience, and why I enjoy reading so much. And so this video is going to be like a trip down memory lane, nostalgia fest about why I loved them, what I remember about them, and why I'm afraid of rereading them. And then I'm going to do another series of my next few videos, it's a 4-book series. I'm going to do a video after having reread each one where I talk about it, having reread it, and what I think about it now as an adult. So the series is the Song of the Lioness Quartet by, I've always said Tamora Pierce, but a little bit of research suggests that it might be Tamora Pierce. I find Tamora to be a little bit weird. I'm not sure why, just in my head it's always been Tamora, and it has been since I was 12 years old. So I'm sorry, Ms. Pierce, but I'm going to be calling you Tamora if that is not actually how you call your name, because even if I say I'm going to try and call you Tamara, it's not going to last. I will just revert to Tamora because that's always been your name to me. Sorry. So these books, so they are Alanna, the First Adventure, In the Hand of the Goddess, The Woman Who Rides Like a Man, and Lioness Rampant, and it's the Song of the Lioness Quartet. These are set in Tortle, and I know there's been many other books set in Tortle, but these were always my favourite. But actually, I haven't really read that many other books by Tamora Pierce. I read the Wild Magic series about Dane, and then I read the ones about, so this is about Alanna, and I read the 2 books about Alanna's daughter, and I think, I don't know if I've ever finished it, but I started the series about, I can't even remember her name, but it was called Page and Squire, maybe Lady Knight, I can't remember the other one, but they were sort of like about the next girl to enter the training after Alanna. So I've read those, and I know there's been heaps more, but I think I only ever read those other series once each. This one though, I reread and reread and reread and reread and reread, and then I gave them to my sister, who's 2 years younger than I am, and she reread them and reread them and reread them and reread them. So they were kind of falling apart. They were a beautiful, like, lilac-y coloured set, and then she lent them to her friend without asking me, and the second one never came back. One was my favourite, and they were falling apart anyway, so I had to go and buy a new set. And I actually think this is the only time I've ever done that, where I've like rebought books that I already owned. And I've reread this set a few times, but they're not as falling apart as they would otherwise be based on how much I've read them. So I even remember getting the first book for the first time. It was at the end of year 6. So in Australia, primary school is kindergarten, when you're 5 till year 6, which is when you're 12-ish, and then you go to high school from year 7 to year 12, which I know is not how it is everywhere in the world, but that's how it is here. And it's, you go into a different school. So at the end of year 6, usually you go to a different school, and often your group that you've been to school with all splits up and goes to different schools. So my school did and we finish our school year just before Christmas, rather than in the middle of the year like they do in the Northern Hemisphere. My classroom teacher had organised a Secret Santa kind of deal, and for our last school day in year 6, or the second last school day of year 6, so the last day we're ever going to be with all of our friends, and it's so sad, they'd arranged for us to all get in a bus and go to some big park, half hour or so away, and do like a big picnic and play and farewell and stuff. And so my teacher had arranged for us to do our gift exchange at the picnic. And so I got given Alanna the First Adventure as my gift. I was given this by Daniel Camilleri, or probably more to the point, Daniel Camilleri's mother. And I will be forever grateful to Mrs. Camilleri because this was so important to me. And I don't think I've ever spoken to Daniel Camilleri since. I should probably track him down and thank his mum. But this was a book, and I actually ignored everybody on this picnic on the last day of school when you were supposed to be like, oh, oh, I love you and big hugs, and it was supposed to be that, grand farewell. I sat under a tree and I read this nearly whole book on this picnic. So I'm sure, I don't know if Daniel even noticed, but if he did, I hope he told his mum to let her know how much I appreciated it. So this series is about Alanna. It starts when she's 10 or 11, which is, I was 12, so, about my age. And it's in a fantasy world, and her twin brother are being sent away from home. They're the children of a nobleman. They're being sent away from home, and Alanna is being sent to like a finishing school for girls, I guess, where she's going to learn to, walk and talk and dance and curtsy and have good table manners and all those important things for a noble woman to be a good wife. And her brother Tom is going to be sent to the palace to begin training to be a knight. He's going to be a page and then a squire, and then he'll do his tests and he'll become a knight. And he will, learn how to use a sword and ride a horse and all of those warrior arts. And they decide they're not going to do that because they both have magic. And Tom is like, yes, magic is great. I really want to learn how to do this more. And Alanna is like, girls, wearing a dress, curtsy, and getting married? No, I want to learn to use a sword. So they dress Alanna like a girl, and they call her Alan. And she goes to the palace. They dress Alanna like a boy. They call her Alan. They cut her hair off. And she goes to the palace to pretend to be a boy for the next 6 years and learn to use a sword. And Tom goes to, I suppose it's like the wizard school. I'm not entirely sure. Tom sort of goes away for most of the series. Yeah, he goes to like wizard school. And so the series follows Alanna about how she's pretending to be a boy and how she's got to get through all of this stuff, and then she's learning how to be a knight, and she's doing all these important things, and she's meets the prince and making all these friends, and she's really struggling, but she gets really, really good at the sword. Like, she's amazing at the sword. Slowly, some of her friends find out that she's a girl, and they're all a bit shocked, but they decide to keep her secret. And then it comes out that after she becomes a knight, it comes out that she's in fact a girl. Everybody's a little bit horrified, and then it continues on with her adventures. So that happens at the end of the second book, and then she goes away and she has adventures out in the big wide world. And then at the very end of the fourth book, she comes back with this very important magical relic that she has won as, this amazing warrior for her kingdom, and gives it to the king. That's roughly the series of the books. And I read them so many times, but I probably haven't read them since, maybe I was 19 was probably the last time I read them. So I'm 28 now, so I've probably been a good 10 years since I've read them. I am so afraid of rereading them. I'm terrified that the Suck Fairy will have visited and I won't like them anymore, and they won't be as important. And I feel like these books have shaped me so much, and they've shaped my imagination so much that I'm terrified of rereading them. There's a lot going on. I remember the first book, there is a whole chapter where she gets her first period. And when I read this, I hadn't had mine yet. And I was still kind of mortified at the whole idea of that. And I just didn't read the chapter. I just skipped it. Because I was like reading it and I'm like, oh, and I sort of skimmed a little bit. And every time I've reread this book, I don't think I've ever actually read that chapter properly. I think I've always skimmed it, even though I'm like, whatever, your period, like, get over it. But it's like, that has always been in the back of my head. The second book, she starts sleeping with the prince, even though everyone else still thinks she's a boy, and I kind of think that might be a little bit problematic now. And like the King of Thieves is in love with her as well. Kind of worried about that because there's a big age differential there. I think there's a big age differential. Maybe he's not that much older than her. I can't remember. But there's like magic, and I love her cat Faithful. Oh my god, Faithful! I forgot about Faithful. But then like there's like this. The way that everyone finds out that she's a girl, she's having a fight with the king's brother, the king's nephew, something like that. It was a big sword fight, like she's challenged him because he's trying to kill the royal family. And I'm worried about how I'm going to interpret his politics now. And like, yes, he was doing a terrible thing, but were his politics wrong? I can't really remember why he wanted to do that. Maybe his politics are wrong. The woman who rides like a man, this is the one I'm really worried about. After she's a knight, she's had a big showdown. Everyone knows that she's a girl. She goes off to have adventures in the big wide world. And there's, in her country, like sort of off to the side, there's like a bit of desert, and there are these desert tribes. And she goes and lives with them for a little while. And I'm really worried about that. As a much more critical reader, much more aware of diversity issues and representation issues, I'm really worried about this desert tribe. I'm really worried about how they're going to be presented. From memory, that kind of a lot of what they're presented as is like a lot of their customs are presented as barbaric from memory. So I'm worried about that, especially because I think they might be like, pretend like their religion might be a version, like a pretend version of Islam, which I'm worried about. I'm really scared about how I'm going to think of that now. Lioness Rampant is when, so the first part of the book, she's off on an adventure and she's going to win her magical relic. And that's up in the mountains in what they call the top of the world. And I think it's supposed to be kind of like Nepal. So I'm kind of worried about how that's going to go as well. Oh, and there's Liam. Liam is like, they've got like these kung fu masters, I guess. And he's meant to be the best kung fu master. And he's called the unicorn. He's got some like animal name. And I'm really worried about him because he's a white dude. And so I'm really worried about how that's going to be interpreted. He's the best, and he falls in love with her as well. So maybe we're going to have some issues about all of these really powerful, important people falling in love with this like unconventional girl. A bit of wish fulfillment maybe going on there, but I loved it when I was a kid. And then she comes back to the palace as a woman, as a lady knight, and everyone's still kind of you're weird, you're gross because you're a girl doing a boy thing, just be a proper girl. So I'm worried about that as well. But I'm really busy at the moment, and everything that's going on in my life is a bit hectic with work and with uni, and it's a bit stressful sometimes. So I just want to be able to come home and read something that I'm familiar with. So I've decided that now is the time to do a reread. I'm really scared about it. So I'm going to debrief by doing videos. So I'm going to reread Alanna, obviously read them in order. I'm going to reread this, and then I'm going to do a debrief video. Read the second one, do a debrief video. And I'm going to analyse them a little bit more critically than I would have as a 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old. I'm going to do them now as an adult reading YA fiction. And I'm going to let you know what I think. And hopefully the suck fairy won't have visited. My fingers are crossed. Okay, so I'm Kate, this is my channel, and this has been my trip down memory lane with, what's it called? The Song of the Lioness Quartet.